of data related issues. So in the previous parts we have discussed about first two data related issues, that is types of data and then the data quality. So in this part we are trying to cover a few topics in the next data issue, that is pre-processing steps. So in this particular session, let us concentrate on what do you mean by pre-processing of data, and then we will see what is aggregation, and finally we'll conclude the session with dimensionality reduction, what dimensionality reduction is and how it becomes an issue. So when I consider pre-processing, if we ask why pre-processing is required, then the simple answer would be it is applied to make the data more suitable for data mining. So we know that data mining, this when we consider KDD process of data mining, data mining in KDD actually is one simple step that we apply, correct? So before that, before data mining, in KDD we have data pre-processing, which means data collected from different parts. Data, when I say data, it is available in various formats at various locations. So they have to be brought down to a particular format. That is what is pre-processing. So how that pre-processing is done. So there are several techniques in which it can be done as listed here. We have aggregation, we have dimensionality reduction, we have sampling, feature subset selection, feature creation, discretization and binarization, variable transformation. All these are various techniques. It's not that we'll be applying all these techniques for every data mining, before every data mining procedure. Some of these, or a few of these would be generally applied in the pre-processing. So having learned this, first let us uh, see what is actually aggregation is. When we consider aggregation, we generally say there is a phrase called as less is more. What actually this less is more is, this phrase expresses an idea that a minimalistic approach is better for something than the larger production. So keeping this in mind, the aggregation works accordingly. So aggregation also follow the similar approach, that is less is more. Aggregation, as a definition, if I want to say what an aggregation is, it is nothing but combining two or more objects into a single object. So, in case of aggregation, what we will be doing is we will be combining several objects into a single object, or we will be reducing the number of objects that is present. So, for example, consider the transaction data as given in this particular diagram here, or table. So what this table represents is, as I told, it is a transaction data, which means that the transactions happened or of a particular company at its various locations. Say consider, as you can see from this particular table, there are three locations that we have considered: Hoodie location, Tin Factory location, and the BTM layout location. So when I say aggregation, now we will be trying to represent, instead of representing this as mentioned here, a day wise representation is given here. So now I'll try to combine this and try to combine or reduce the data objects present. So as you can count here, the number of data objects will be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. 10 data objects is there. And let us try to merge this in some or the other way and see how aggregation can be performed. First thing that comes to our mind is, how do you replace all these transactions? So how are you going to perform the aggregation? So I can tell that by replacing the transaction of the single store with the single store wide transaction. Here we have listed the transaction single store, that is each transaction we have listed it individually here. Instead of listing like this, if we try to combine the transaction as a store wise transaction, then probably we would reduce this to, say, consider number of stores that we are having here. As in this case, it might be this entire table might get reduced to only three data objects, which refers to three store locations. So what happens when we do like this? What happens when we perform aggregation? So the it helps to reduce the hundreds or thousands of transactions that occur daily at a specific store to a single daily transaction. Also, the number of objects is reduced to the number of stores. So next question that comes to our mind is, how will be the aggregation performed? How you will perform the aggregation? The solution for this is, if the attribute is a qualitative attribute, then what we can do is we can summarize them, or even if it is not required, we can even omit it. But if the attribute is a quantitative attribute, what we do is it is better to take the sum or the average of those values being listed. So this can be taken as a solution. And when we say omission, omission is possible based on the priority of the data. What do you mean by this is, if suppose particular attribute is not so much importance for that analysis, then we can eliminate that particular attribute so as to reduce the size of the data set. Okay, so here I can tell that some of the attributes can be omitted based on its importance with respect to the analysis or pattern to be made or to be found. So keeping all this in mind, if I perform aggregation of the said data, then it might look like this. So as I told earlier, we, instead of listing it individually, I have listed it as a store wise, that is in the OD location what are the items that has got sold. And this month, instead of having it as a daily transaction, I have listed this for a particular month, so that if I have 1 year data, then instead of having a 365 columns or 365 data objects, I can reduce it to only 12 data objects based on month if I'm doing. And again, if that is further reduced to the store wise location, then it would be 12 into 3 as in this case. Okay, so 36 data objects will be there instead of 365 into 3. So now, what is the motivation or advantage of having aggregation is, it takes less memory, and even the processing time will be less. And also it provides the high level view. Aggregation provides the high level view. So when I say advantages, there also will be the disadvantages, and the only disadvantage here is the loss of interesting detail. We might lose some of the very important data that is present in the data set. So this is about the aggregation. So next we will see what dimensionality reduction is. So when I say dimensionality reduction, dimensions here refers to the attributes or the features. Whenever we consider a data set given for data mining process, it generally consists of large number of features or large number of attributes will be there. So for example, consider a data set representing the frequency of occurrence of a particular word in 4 different documents. So what example they have taken here is, there are 4 documents, and the in the data matrix, since we have already know that this document representation will be represented in terms of a sparse data matrix in particular. I'll be just referring it as a data matrix here, but that would be a sparse data matrix. Fine. So here, each document might consist of hundreds or thousands of words, and what we will be representing is, each word will be considered as an attribute here, and the number of data objects would be 4. That is because I'm having 4 documents would be the data objects, and each word present in those documents, say consider, when I say document, it might be one A4 size sheet, or one page, one textbook page. Say consider it as one textbook page, and in such that 4 pages is equals to 4 documents here. So the number of words present in these 4 pages would be the number of attributes. So obviously it would be around hundreds or 200 in 200 or 300 in numbers, right? So what I'll be doing is, so I'll be representing in the attribute values, I'll be having number of times that each word is being represented. So now, so when I consider that particular table, obviously it will be a large table in terms of attributes, correct? So 300 attributes means it is a very large table. So now, in such cases, analysis becomes very difficult, correct? So there we will be applying dimensionality reduction. So what is the advantage if I apply dimensionality reduction? What happens? So when data mining, first advantage is, data mining algorithm works better if the dimensionality is less in number. So why it is so? Because I can give 2 reasons for this here. First one is dimensionality reduction eliminates irrelevant feature and reduces the noise. So when we are trying to reduce the dimensionality, when I say dimensionality, the attributes, so obviously we will be eliminating only those attributes which are irrelevant with respect to the analysis that we are going to do. That is first thing. And then any noise, when I say noise here, unwanted data that is being collected, even we'll be removing those things while performing the reduction. So that being the one first reason, main reason, which increases the efficiency of algorithm. The second reason would be it reduces the problem of curse of dimensionality. So now what is this curse of dimensionality? We see in the next slide. So the two reasons for the algorithm which increases the efficiency of algorithm is, first one, it reduces the curse of dimensionality, and the second one is number of dimensions, irrelevant features will be removed as well as noise would be reduced. Okay, and the second advantage is it leads to more understandable model because it involves fewer attributes. So as the number of attributes is reduced, the model that we construct would be easily understandable for any analysts. So that is the second advantage. And the third advantage that we have is it allows the data to be easily visualized. So visualization of data becomes very easier. So that is the advantage of dimensionality reduction. And then finally, what we have is the amount of time and the memory required by the data mining algorithm is reduced with the reduction in the dimensionality. So when we reduce the dimensionality, the amount of time and the memory required is also being reduced. So these are the important advantages of reducing the dimensionality, or I can say dimensionality reduction. So next what we have is curse of dimensionality. Now let's see what is this curse of dimensionality, how we can reduce this. So curse of dimensionality refers to the phenomenon that many types of data analysis becomes significantly harder as the dimensionality of data increases. So specifically we can say that as the dimensionality increases, data becomes increasingly sparse in the space that it occupies. So as a result, many clustering and classification algorithms have trouble. So that is, in case of classification, what I can say is the accuracy of the classification may reduce significantly, whereas in case of clustering, we can tell that the clusters formed may be of poor quality. So these are the problem that occurs if we have the problem of curse of dimensionality. So basically, in simple words, it tells that your data set is large such that one thing, it is exceeding the storage space that is required, and it becomes very difficult for us to understand as to what analysis we have to perform. So because of that, it mainly affects two main process. One is classification and clustering. So now, is there any way in which we can overcome this particular problem? So we will see the solution also for this. So next, what we have is approaches for dimensionality reduction. So there are two approaches that we have. One is that is a linear algebra technique that we'll be applying. There are two linear algebra technique. That is one is PCA, that is principal component analysis, and the second one is SVD, which is nothing but singular value decomposition. So in this particular syllabus, we are going to mainly concentrate on what PCA is and how does this PCA work. So next what we have is PCA. So we are going to study one of the unsupervised method that comes under linear algebra, that is principal component analysis. This principal component analysis applies a linear algebra technique to find newer attributes, which we call as principal components, in such a way that those attributes are linear combinations of original attribute. They are orthogonal to each other and captures maximum variations in the data. So principal component analysis is mainly applied for the continuous data, attribute having continuous data, and here the new attributes found will possess these characteristics. When I say characteristics, they are linear combination of the original attributes. So the attributes they found here might be a completely newer one, but it has some linear relationship with respect to the already present attributes, and they will be orthogonal to each other, and also they captures maximum variation present. So now, what is the steps that we have and how the PCA works? Actually, what steps we have in case of PCA? So first, in PCA, we will be having we have to identify relationship, that is using the covariance matrix. So first we identify the covariance matrix. This covariance matrix identifies the relationship that exists between the attributes that is present in the given data set. Once the covariance matrix is found, next step is applying the linear transformation. So when we apply linear transformation, it is basically to get two things. One is eigenvector and eigenvalues. So in the first step, we are going to find the covariance matrix which has or which identifies the relationship, and then the second step we are going to perform linear transformation, and this linear transformation would yield us eigenvector and eigenvalues. And in the third step, using the eigenvectors, we are going to transform the data into the principal components. When I say principal components, the new attributes that are that will be found. So for this finding the new attributes, we will be making use of eigenvector that is found in the second step. And in the last step, what we'll be doing is among the several principal components present, based on the eigenvalue that we have obtained in the step 2, we will be identifying the important principal components. When I say principal components, here it is attributes, newer attributes, and we'll be retaining that newer attributes, and all other new attributes will be eliminated. So this is how your principal component analysis or PCA works. First, identification of covariance matrix. From the covariance matrix, some transformation is applied to get eigenvector and eigenvalue. Using eigenvector, we will be transforming the data into newer attributes, that is principal components. And using the eigenvalues, among the several newer attributes or the principal components obtained, we will be retaining the important principal components. So that is the working of PCA for us. With this, we have come to the end of dimensionality reduction. Thank you, students, for listening patiently. Thank you.